7.5, solving two-step equations. Everybody should be on page 342 and 343 in your math books. If you're not already, go ahead and turn there in your math books. Solving two-step equations is very similar to solving one-step equations. We still use the inverse operation to solve for the variable. All right, so on page 342, example 1, let's work 5x minus 6 equals negative 21. Make sure you're writing this in your notes. All right, now the first thing I want to do when solving a two-step equation is I want to get the numbers that are not attached to the variable on the other side of the equation first. Okay? So negative 6 is standing alone over on the left side, so I'm going to add 6 to both sides. Now notice over here with negative 21 plus 6, we have different signs, so we need to subtract and take. 21 has the greater absolute value, so that would equal negative 15. And now I have 5x equals negative 15. Now the inverse operation here would be division, so I need to divide both sides by 5. And negative 15 divided by 5 is negative 3, and that would be your answer. Now with two-step equations, I solve it the exact same way that I checked one-step equations. Okay? So I can plug in negative 3 back into the original equation, and 5 times negative 3 is negative 15, and negative 15 minus 6 is negative 21. All right, so it checks out. So that's how I still check it the exact same way by plugging what I think my solution is back into the original equation. All right, so that's how I solve whenever I have the inverse of multiplication. Let's look now at how to solve a division two-step equation. I have c divided by 3 plus 13 equals 0. c divided by 3 plus 13 equals 0. Now again, I want to first get everything to the other side that's not attached to my variable. So the first operation I want to do is the inverse of 13. How do I get rid of positive 13? I need to subtract it. Whatever I do to one side, I must do the same thing to the other. Now I have c divided by 3 equals negative 13. Then how does somebody want to tell me how do I get c by itself now? What do I need to do? I need to multiply by the reciprocal. 3 over 1. And remember, I don't multiply by 3 over c because the whole goal here is to get c by itself. If I multiply 3 by c, then that does not accomplish my goal because it cancels. All right, so now I have c left. Whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. Negative 13 times 3 is negative 39. Negative 39. Start with inverse operation of everything that's not connected to your variable. And then after you go through that step, then figure out how to get your variable by itself.
How would you check that? Would you do 39?
That's a very good question. You would check it the exact same way that you always check it, except now it's a fraction. So you would plug negative 39 back into the original equation. Negative 39 divided by 3 is negative 13, and negative 13 plus 13 is 0. Okay, so it does check out. Now on your homework, make sure that you show how you plugged it back into the original. We don't have room on the whiteboard, but just make sure that you do that on your homework. All right, in our last example, example 3, everybody should be looking on page 343. This is a word problem. All right, so let's read the word problem together and try to figure out how we can solve this using a variable. This word problem is about bicycle repair. It says, your bicycle needs to be fixed. A mechanic charges $40 for each hour of labor, and the new parts cost $35. The total cost of fixing the bicycle is $95. how long did it take the mechanic to fix the bicycle? Now, the first thing I'm going to do, and really with any word problem, what I want to start with is, what information does the problem give me? Okay, well, it gives me the total. I know that the total is $95. I know that it costs $35 for the repair, or for the parts, and I know that they charge me $40 an hour. What I don't know, and what they ask me to solve for, is how long does it take? So it tells me that they charge $40 an hour, but I don't know how many hours it's going to take. So that is going to be my unknown, my variable. And I know that the total hourly charge and the cost of the parts is going to equal $95. So now I have my equation. 40n plus 35 equals 95. Now I solve my two-step equation exactly like I did in examples 1 and 2. I need to first get everything that's not attached to the variable to the other side. So whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. And remember, guys, show your steps. Okay? Don't do this in your head. You need to show me how you're moving things from one side of the equation to the other. Now you have 40n equals 60. You solve this the same way that you solved others, although we're dealing with larger numbers. We divide both sides by 40, and n equals 60 over 40, or 3 over 2. But in terms of hours, this doesn't make a lot of sense. 3 seconds hours. Okay, that doesn't make sense. So what I can do is I can change it to a mixed number. And that makes a little more sense when we're talking in terms of hours. So it takes 1.5 hours, took 1.5 hours to fix this person's bicycle. All right? So you do have 1 or 2 of these on your homework. So again, if you're struggling, this is recorded. Go to the Facebook page and watch it, and hopefully that will help you.